Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Fullstack Development session. So today we are going to learn what exactly the Fullstack Development is and what are the technologies we have to learn to become. So before I start with what exactly the Fullstack Development, so let me give some quick intro about myself. I'm Keshav. I have been working as full stack developer and as well as full stack development program trainer around 9+ years. And I'm into the technologies like Node.js and Java. Coming to the databases, different types of databases like SQL based, that is relational databases like MySQL, SQL Server, and Oracle, etc. Coming to the front-end technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and coming to the frameworks React, Angular, have been into this. Okay, guys, that's it. That's small intro about myself. Yeah. So before I start, what exactly the full stack development is, first I would like to talk about a web application. So first I would like to talk about a simple web application, a typical web application. So here, if you take any web application in this particular world, which will be having a three-tier architecture, which will be following something like a three-tier architecture, it will be following. So in that three-tier architecture, what will be there? So the first thing is known as presentation layer. The second one is called application layer, or we even call it as business layer. And the last one is known as persistence layer or data layer or database layer. So for example, if you take something like what exactly, Facebook, some social media site like Facebook, that application, if you take example, the presentation layer means how it looks like to the outer world, like whenever a user opens that particular application in a browser, how it looks like, that will be represented in the presentation layer, like the home page and a registration page, login page, all these things will be comes under presentation layer. And next, you'll be registering by entering your basic details like first name, last name, and all that. So then the moment you register, your data will be stored generally inside the data layer or database layer. Every time the data will be every time you do registration, at that time that will be happening. So that registration you will not do again and again, right? So uh, this is about how the data will be entered in the presentation layer and it will be stored in the database layer. Okay, fine. But how that will be stored, that is what this application layer is about. So here people, for example, you will be having something like registration page, and there you'll be entering the data. So once you enter the data, what happens, exactly, your data will be transferred from the browser, means your client machine like your computer or your laptop or your mobile phone or tablet. There, the moment you enter the data will be transferred through network, and it will be transferred into the server. This application layer or business layer is nothing but a server here. So there, the data will be transferred to the server. So then what exactly the server will do is, inside the server, there will be a dedicated modules will be there. Software modules, like the first one can be considered as the registration module. Next thing can be considered as something like a login module. Next can be something like search module kind of thing. So assume the first thing is registration module. Then this particular module will take the data, whatever it is coming from the presentation layer or from the browser, you can say. Then that will take that data. Just a minute. Yeah. So this this module will take the data and it will be calling the database connection. At the backend, it will call the database connection and it will take that data and that will store the data into the database. So inside the database, you will be having different database layer. You'll be having databases, and inside that, you'll be having tables, and your data will be stored over those tables, like in the form of list of users or something like that. User data will be stored in that. So this is what usually happens. So from that browser level, the data will be entered by the user, and the same thing will be transferred to the application layer. Why we call this application or business layer? Because main activity will be happening here. So once you click that one, then what actually should happen? It should be register, or it should check for login activity, or it should search for something, or it should open some payment gateway, or what it should happen will be decided in the application layer. Next, whenever there is a requirement to store the data for uh, what I can say, like longer periods, then we'll be going with the database layer. But these two are always interconnected. This database layer and as well as this application layer, both are always interconnected together. And this is called presentation layer, right? When any person opens this as a normal user, not as a program, normal user, if he opens in the browser, he can't see what exactly happening in the business layer. That is like what kind of a code is written and how it is getting stored in the database and all. These kind of things user cannot see, but user can see home page, user can see login page, user can see uh, a registration page. All these things user can see. That is the reason this presentation layer we usually call it as front end, as because people can see it, or this is the front end for your entire application where people can see it, and this will be the front end. And these two things users cannot see, right? So that is the reason we call it as backend. Okay, fine, but still, what is full stack? Still, I'm talking that the presentation and backend, and what exactly full stack. Now we are going to learn the full stack now. So, but before that, okay, I'm talking like your data will be entered here, and the data will be taken, and that will be stored into your database. That will be transferred from this layer to that layer, and that will be stored in the database. Next time, tomorrow, if you want to use the same Facebook kind of application, then what you will be doing? You will not be registering again, right? Instead of that, you will be going with an option called sign in. The moment you are opting for the sign in, then what you will do, you will be entering username as well as password. The moment you enter username and password, that data will also be transferred from your browser to application layer. Assume like this is the login module, then that module will take the data, and this time it will take the data, get the data from the database. It will get the data from the database, and it will check that data, like whether you entered right password or not. It will be checking. If it is really entering if it is really found like username and password both are right, then it will be generating a home page, and that home page will be sent back to the front end or your browser. Clear? Or this is one case. In another case, if username and password do not match, then uh, it will be sending you an error message to the front end. Right? So this is what happens in the any web application working. Any web application you take in this world, so this is what happens always. So that is called the whatever it is sending from has been sending from your presentation layer or front end to the server level is called request here. So this one is called request. and whatever it's been sent back from your server to the front end is called response. So if you think about any web application working, that will be the combination of request and response always. Just tell me. Yeah, so this will be the request and response cycle will be there. Okay, fine. Then this is about login I'm telling, right? Next comes your assume like something like some searching. You're searching for some friend's names or something like that. Then the moment you want to search, then what will be there? There will be one page where one small box will be there where you'll be entering some name or some letter, whatever it is for searching. Then what happens? Assume like you are entering something. Which starts with something like A, something like or HA, something you have type. Then Harish or something like HA or something, whatever it may be, HA, through HA, whatever the names are there, which starts with HA, all the names will be presented over there as a list, right? So how that is happening, how those names will be written back here is because you are entering that HA, and that small letter, or word will be captured, and that will be sent to the request as a request. Then that request will be captured by this server. Assume like this is a searching activity. Okay, then what this will do, this will call the database, and to the database it will send a query like get all the users whose name starts with, or all the friends list whose name starts with, or whose name contains HA, something like that it will happen. Then what happens, the database will give you the data. Next, what this application layer will do is inside this search activity, it will arrange that all the list of friends and whatever may be the names, and that will be sending back as a response. But the only thing here is sending the request from front end, and processing happening in the presentation business layer, and getting the data or entering the data into the database and getting back the data and sending the response. All these things are happening within a second. Understood, right? Just it's a matter of a second or something even less than the second. That is the reason we don't find like request is going, we are waiting for some time, that is getting processed, and we are waiting. No, no such waiting will be there because of this. Clear? So this is what usually happen. But still, where that full stack comes into picture. So that is what we are going to discuss now. So I'm talking like this is this color is something like log registration activity. This is like some login activity. This is like some searching, and next is something like some payment. Different activities can be there depending on the application. If it is e-commerce application, one kind of structure it will be there. If it is a social media platform kind of application, one kind of thing will be there. And if it is a mail management application, one kind of style will be there. That depends. But how these activities are happening, no person will sit and do all these activities. So definitely the program will be written for this. You understood, right? So here things are happening, but for this to happen, definitely there will be a program which is already written. So within that program you'll be having all these modules. I can call these as modules. So registration module, and login module, search module, all these things I can consider as a modules. But all these things are already written as a program, and this one is called server side software. So we have to programs, all programs together is nothing but integrating the programs together is nothing but the software. But these programs are to be written. So to write any program, to develop any software, you need the help of programming language. So to develop this server side, we call it as server side. So to develop this server side modules or server side software, you need knowledge in any of these languages. Because you people might be knowing these languages very well. You no need to have the knowledge in all of this. If you have knowledge in any one of these, that will be more than enough. These are server side technologies. That is either Java, or you can have knowledge in Node.js, or you can have knowledge in Python, or you can have knowledge in .NET, guys. Clear? And the guys who are responsible for uh, this development are called server side developers, or we call them as backend developers, or we call them as Java developer. Specifically, we call them with the help of their technology, Node.js developer or Python developer or .NET developer. Clear. Next comes your presentation layer. Okay, once the data received into your server, then what should happen? You will be writing as a program using these languages. Fine, but user has to enter some data, right? Where you'll be entering the data. So we know like something like your fields will be there, username, something like first name, last name, mobile number, mail ID, and then some button like register here, something like that will be. So, but all these things should be visible to the user. Means first we have to develop it. So that is nothing but a complete website. So if you want to develop that website, first we have to develop the web pages. Registration page has to be developed. Sign in, login page has to be developed. After login, what should be there? Home page, right? Home page has to be developed. So all these pages should be developed. So in other way, if you want to develop the front end side, see to if you want this web application to work fine, this back end side software has to be developed. Front end side also software has to be developed here. So this is called client side software. So you have to develop it, or in a simple way you can call it as a website. So you have to develop a website. So to develop the website, already we knew just now, that is like website here is nothing but it's a collection of web pages. What a website will contain generally, it will be having different web pages. You take any website, Gmail for example, what it will have? First page will be there like dashboard, first page, where registration page will be there, login page will be there, right? Forgot password page will be there, a home page will be there, inbox page, example I am telling. So different pages will be there. So to develop a website, first one should know how to create a web page. So to create a web page, there are certain technologies one must learn here. So to develop the backend, as I told you, either Java, Node, or Python, or .NET is enough. But to develop front end side web pages, you need knowledge in HTML language and CSS language and JavaScript language. So here I'm using word and. So you have to learn all of them: HTML language, CSS, as well as JavaScript, guys. Clear? And when you're developing any application or any program through these languages, for example, either backend side Java or whatever you're developing, uh, using this pure technology, still you can develop, but that will take some more time for a developer to develop the application. Then what is the remedy here? So there is some concept in any programming development or any software development. That concept name is framework here. So framework is nothing but it's not a technology, guys. Simple thing. It's not at all a technology, or it's not a programming language. It's not a, to be precise, it's not a programming language. It is developed on the top of any programming language, but it will make developer work easy. It will have certain recommendations, certain following steps will be there. If you can follow them, then your development work will become easy. So in that regard, for Java, I think you people might heard these things already. Spring, that is something called Spring. For Node.js, we have something called Express. For Python, we have something called Django, or people call it as Django, something like that. So these are called frameworks. So if you use Java as a technology to develop the server, people will use Spring along with the Java. If you are developing it through Node, people will use Express. If you are developing it through Python, people will use Django. .NET, something .NET Core or something will be there, right? That is called framework. When it comes to this presentation layer, or this side, actually this is having another name also, that is called UI, guys. UI means user interface. Why? Because any user wants to use your web application, he cannot see what is written in the application layer, and you cannot see what is happening in the database and all. You can see only web pages, right? That is the reason user can connect to your entire application only through this front end, only through these web pages. That is the reason we call it as user interface. Okay, so to develop this user interface, HTML, CSS, JavaScript are used. Just now we have discussed. So in that, HTML is generally used to add the content here to your web page. It will be adding the content, like what your page exactly should contain, like uh, paragraph data it should contain, text format, or images it should contain. What it should contain, it can be added only through the HTML. If you want to add any content to your web page, that can be added only through the HTML. Then what is the duty of the CSS? You can add the content through HTML, fine, but how the data should display in the web pages. For example, your data is like, your content is like, hello students, welcome to full stack development. That is the only thing you want to write in your web page. But that hello students, welcome to full stack development should be in red color or yellow color or green color. You understood it? So all such things, that is simple one example color, but other stylings also will be there. All such things will be, decided with the help of CSS, or through CSS we can able to do that. That is called, CSS. Using CSS we can able to add the stylings to our web pages. So which means it is mainly responsible for adding the appearance. It is mainly responsible for the appearance of your web page, whereas HTML is the responsible for the content of web page, right? So CSS is responsible for the appearance of your web page. Next comes your JavaScript. Using HTML and CSS, you can develop normal web pages where people can't interact with that web page. User cannot interact with that particular web page. That is like a static web page. But if you want to make it dynamic, if you want to add some dynamic nature into it, then definitely we have to use something else, that is called JavaScript. So for example, uh, you are applying some form, online form, then there, assume like you're applying for an IT job, example I'm telling, there, work experience, something like that, or do you have a prior work experience, something, some question is there, there two options are there, you can opt yes or no. So the moment people opt for no, then nothing will be there, but the moment people opt for yes, then one box will be opened where you have to enter your prior employment information. You understood, right? If you opt for no, nothing will be displayed, but if you opt for yes, that box will be displayed. You understood it? So that is what I want to call it as a dynamic nature. You understood, right? So using HTML, CSS, you cannot develop that pages. You can develop only, you can keep that box, visible in the page, or you can keep that box cannot be visible. But as per user selection, at that time that should be visible. If we choose no, then it should not be visible. So the such kind of uh, you know dynamic nature you cannot add to pages. Clear? So such things are very important nowadays, right? Definitely page should be dynamic in nature. So to add that dynamic nature, we'll be using the JavaScript, and that is the reason it decides the behavior of your web page. Like, if something is selected, then how it should behave. If something is clicked, then how it should behave. And if that option is selected, how it should behave. If it is another option selected, then how it should behave. Understood it? So that's the reason JavaScript decides the are responsible for the behavior of your web page. So in this side, like front end side, HTML is a simple language where we will be learning that tags to add different to add image tag, image content, image as a content. We learn some tag, how to add it. That's it. To add paragraphs, we learn one tag. That's it. Means to add any content, we will be learning the tags. Next comes your CSS. To add any kind of stylings, you want to change the background color, you will learn one CSS property. To change the height of the one box, one image, then you'll be learning one property. You understood, right? To change the width, you'll learn one property. To change the font size, you'll learn one property. So if you learn tags, HTML is completed. If you learn properties, CSS is completed. But when it comes to JavaScript, it's like a programming language, kind of your Java, kind of your Python. So JavaScript is also a programming language, but whose purpose is something like, to add some dynamic nature to page. But still, it is a programming language. So here also, using plain JavaScript, we can able to develop the web pages. But again, there is a concept called, framework. If you can use that concept, then that will make our work easy, right? So the way it is happening at the back end side, in the same way it will be happening at the front end side also. So to make the people who are working on the UI side or front end side to make their work development easy, there are certain frameworks available for JavaScript. For HTML, CSS, not required actually. They are very simple. So, but this is a main programming language where we will be using the framework. So, in that category, we have two things, very important things. That is either Angular or React, or React people call React.js. So, two frameworks will be there for front end. For JavaScript, two frameworks will be there. You can use either Angular or React. You can able to use. Actually, not required both. One of them is fine, but both are very popular. Clear? But still, I'm not talking about that what called full stack. So now I will talk that in the industry, people whoever is working on this area are called backend developers, as I already told you, right? So the guys whoever is working on application development, that is like Java or whatever it is, this yellow color things, all these people are called backend developers here. And the people whoever is working on this area are called UI developers, or we call them as front end developers. But this scenario was good and fine earlier days. But nowadays, what the companies are doing here is whoever is working as front end developers, they're asking them to learn any of the backend language. Whoever is already working as backend developers, they're asking their employees, backend developers, to learn the front end technologies, any one of them, either Angular or React or whatever it is. But they're asking them. So why they're asking? Because the guys whoever is responsible for both front end development as well as back end development in the organization are called full stack developers. Clear? And that development is called full stack development. So now I hope you people got the understanding what exactly the full stack development is. So now if I summarize this, if one yeah, so okay, before that, see, as I told you earlier days, it is okay to be a front end or to be a back end developer, but nowadays the guys who are already working in organizations, their management are asking or encouraging their employees to learn other technologies, like other side. If they are front end, they're asking them to learn back end. If they're already back end, they're asking them to learn front end. So I'm telling like they're encouraging, rather I can say they're forcing them to learn. This is happening in the for the guys who are already working. If that is the case for the guys who are working, then definitely who wants to learn something and wants to get into IT, definitely they are expecting the resources to be aware with both the things, like both sides, front end side as well as back end side. So that is the reason the full stack development is one of the most what I can say, like hard cake kind of job in the software industry right now. Clear? So if I summarize here, what you have to learn as a full stack developer, what you actually want to learn here is, from the front end side, you have to learn HTML, CSS, as well as JavaScript. These three technologies you have to learn. We call them as basic UI technologies. Other than that, you have to learn either Angular or React. And coming to the back end, you can learn any of the programming language here, server-side programming technology here. Two are three not required. You don't have to learn all of them. No need. One of them you have to learn perfectly. And next comes your database. So when you're talking about the database, there are different styles of databases are available, but you can easily learn database. Once you're good at the server side programming language, database is fine. That will be you can easily learn about it. It will be like how to enter the data, how to insert the data, how to retrieve the data. Only that kind of operations will be. So in this course, in this full stack development course here, in the backend side, I am teaching this Node.js. I'm sticking to this technology called Node.js here. Node.js. Why? Because yeah, I will tell you. So in the Node.js, I told you, right, there is one framework called Express. If you're learning Node.js means along with the Node.js, so definitely you'll be learning the framework called Express.js. Fine. And coming to the this is like your back end or server side. You'll be learning the Node.js. Then coming to the UI side or your front end side or website development, web designing. You'll be learning a basic UI, like all three technologies you'll be learning: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You'll be learning. Other than that, you'll be learning option here, guys, for you either Angular or React. You'll be learning. Both are not required. You can learn any one of them. Next, coming to the database here, there is one database nowadays. It is very famous called MongoDB database, which is a NoSQL structured database. That is, NoSQL means no structured query language. Means if the data is not in a structured format, then how to handle such data? For example, whatever it's been happening in the social media application nowadays, the data is always dynamic, and as well as there will be no proper structure. If you're talking about employee management system or something like school student management system kind of applications, where student will be having the data, 4 or 5 fields will be there for student. What will be there for student? Student ID, student name, something like that. 4 or 5 or 10 fields will be, they are fixed. For employee also fixed. So that is like structured data will be there. But when it comes to this social media post, if you see what happens in the social media sites, you do post, right? You'll be posting something. If I take the post as a post I want to save into an application through application, then one day the post can be having only text. Next day it can have one heading, and below to that one paragraph will be there. Next day it can have one heading, uh, you know one paragraph and one image. Next day it can have one heading and one image. Next day it can have only image. You understood, right? So there will be no proper structure in the data. So in such scenarios as well, still we can able to uh, what I can say, like accommodate the storing for such kind of data. If it is handling the data which is even in the form of unstructured, then definitely it can handle the data which is in the form of structure. So we are learning the MongoDB as a database. Then why I am sticking to this Node.js? Because in the front end side, guys, as I am learning JavaScript as a advantage, other than this all these languages whatever I mentioned here, JavaScript has a special advantage here, that is to develop this web pages and website you'll be using the front end side JavaScript, and the same JavaScript is based for your Angular as well as React. Fine, you'll be learning the frameworks also. When it comes to the backend side development, Java is completely different language, Python different, .NET different, but Node.js is something that after Node there is one word called something called extension called something JS. This JS indicates again JavaScript. So JavaScript has the advantage. The advantage is like it can be used for front end development, and as well as it can be even used for server side or backend development also. So in this also the code will be same. See, the level and the kind of modules we learn, the way we implement, we'll be learning something, some new things, but still the way we write the code, syntax and everything is same as that of your front-end JavaScript. So that is the reason, if one can learn, Express also said, if one can learn JavaScript perfectly, can able to work on the front end using the frameworks also they can work. Next, even the server side language Node.js also they can easily learn. And one more advantage here is MongoDB is a database, right? So generally to retrieve or to work with any database, you have to learn a language called structured query language, SQL language, using which you have to insert the data, retrieve the data, delete the data, update the data. These things you have to do. But if you can learn JavaScript, then here to work with this MongoDB, you don't need to learn anything specially for SQL related things to handle the database. For this also, JavaScript basic is enough. You understood it. So that is the reason I prefer generally for the guys to learn quickly this full stack development. That's why I'm here preferring Node.js as a technology. So in your course, what you will be learning here is, as I already mentioned, I will be wrapping up those things. You will be learning this one anyhow. UI part, complete UI part you will be learning, basic UI part here, and along with that you'll be learning either Angular or React here. And this one is also common here. This you'll be learning Node.js and Express.js, and coming to the database you'll be learning this. But if you prefer Angular, then that is called Node with Angular full stack. That UI will be there anyhow. If people prefer something like this, then this red color one is the red. So this is called Node with Angular full stack, but this has a special name called mean stack development. Clear? Why? Because other than UI, here you will be learning M means MongoDB, E means Express, A means Angular, N means Node. So this is not a special one. This is also a full stack development only. The only thing is, if Node is a backend technology and this one Angular is the front end technology, then we will be calling it as a mean stack. The same way, here I will change some color now. Yeah, so green color. If someone prefers React as a front end framework, that's it. Node.js as a back end language, then that kind of full stack development is known as mean stack, guys. Okay. This is my mean stack full stack development, and this is mean stack full stack development. So this is the program you'll be learning. This is a choice for you. The first one is choice, either Angular or React. Other than that, all other things will be as part of your course program. UI will be there, Node or Express, Node and Express will be there, MongoDB will be there, and either Angular or React will be there. One of them will be there. And coming to the sessions, and you'll be having daily up to 5 days. You'll be having daily 1.5 hour session will be there, and that session will be live session daily, and that will be a more interactive session, and where you have to follow the session, and you'll be practicing the same, and in the next session you can ask whatever the doubts you're having. But the advantage with this live sessions here is, once the session is finished, the same session will be recorded, and and as well as that will be posted in our portal, and we'll be giving you an access to that particular portal where you can access all the things, assume for example, if your class starts on 25th January, assume 2022, then you started your learning, then on suddenly on January 28th you missed the class, then January 29th, you no need to panic about it. Simply you can open that portal where what happened on January 28th, you can able to go through that particular recorded video session, and the next day you can ask your doubts, and that is about how the session will be handled. Clear? And when it comes to the practical approach, everything will be like we'll be learning the concept oriented learning, and then immediately we'll be learning the practicals. Everything by writing the code only will be learning. It's not like what is this definition. No, it won't be in that way. Everything will be writing the code, and we'll be learning. When we are learning, once we are done with HTML, CSS, JavaScript here, where we will be creating a project out of it. One application will be developing, or one project will be developing out of it using these technologies. If you learn either Angular or React, and using one front-end framework, we'll be developing one project. So that project will be like this. Next is using this back-end technology, like either Node with MongoDB, we'll be developing one more project. That is like third project. And at the end, whatever the project we develop using this Node back-end project, right? So for the same back-end, we will be creating a related front end, like assume you created one employee management system, then for that to display and for that to be beautifully displayed in a web page, for that we again create one either front end through either React or Angular, depending on your choice. We'll be creating it, and there we'll be combining our backend as well as front end, and that project will be doing, and that one will be something like a fourth project. You understand? These are the minimum number of projects will be uh, doing throughout our course, guys. Clear? So that's it, guys. This is about some introduction or some awareness about what exactly the full stack development is, and what is the what is called front end, what is called back end, what's the technologies involved in that aspects, and as well as what this exactly full stack development course we are offering is going to contain, and what are the internal technology it will have, and what are the projects we are going to learn. Still, if you're having any doubts, regarding this session, yes, now I am open to questions, guys. You can unmute yourself, you can ask your doubts, or you can post your doubts in the chat box, guys. I will be happy to answer you guys. You can start, shoot out
Yeah,
your question.
Teshu, I had a doubt. I have a question.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
So here in this course, you are going to cover both Angular and React, right?
No, that's what I'm telling. Either Angular or React.
Okay, okay. Fine.
Yeah, I will be teaching both. You can choose.
Choose. Okay, choice is
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Fine, fine.
yeah. If you are choosing Angular, something. So it depends. Here, some people are there, right? So that depends. The course will be like the complete full stack course will be front UI, the Node, JS, Express, and MongoDB plus Angular or plus React. So it depends.
Okay,
If some people are preferring React, only for them only React will be separate, will be there. Other things will be as it is.
okay, okay. Fine, fine. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
yeah. Tell me, Mama.
As a fresher, how to get into real time things?
So we'll be learning in such a way only, right? So it's not like that's what I'm telling, the project or whatever it I will be giving you once the sessions are finished, and I will be giving you certain tasks to implement and all. If you are able to do it, and if you are able to do these projects and all, if you are able to follow and all, so those standards will be definitely at par with the industry. So you'll be learning that. Yeah, real time scenario, it won't be like the concept learning and all, what is the meaning of this, what is this syntax and all. No, it won't be like that. How the code will be written in the industry, after getting into a company, how people start writing the code, in such a way only you'll be learning.
Okay. And one more thing, which one is better, Angular or React? Because
Yeah,
I'm not aware of those two
yeah,
that much. So I want to know which one is better and companies are using more nowadays.
yeah, both are having its own prominence in web development nowadays. But in recent times, the React has emerged like anything, due to its learning curve and all. So compared to Angular, React is learning curve is less. In Angular, you'll be having something TypeScript. There is one more language called TypeScript, which is something almost same as the JavaScript, but in JavaScript, pure JavaScript will be there. In React, pure JavaScript will be there. So in recent times, the React has evolved like anything, but still Angular has its prominence.
Sir,
Okay.
Yeah, tell me,
hello,
Debashis.
sir.
Yeah, Debashis,
Uh,
tell me.
Sir, is there any prerequisites for getting into full stack development? Any prerequisites?
No, as I'm starting from the uh, HTML, CSS, and all, then not required.
Uh, any knowledge in data structure or algorithms?
Not required. That much is not required, because when we are learning this Node.js or JavaScript, so at that time only, as a part of programming language, we'll be learning them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, but always they are always good to have. They will be helping you to create certain complex scenarios, complex problems. That will be
Okay,
added
sir.
advantage to if you have. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, what will be the course fee for this course?
Course.
Course fee.
Yeah, yeah. That you have given your details, right, Deepashish? No?
No, sir, I have only provided with a mail only the where the course structure, the curriculum is there, not the course fee.
Okay, okay. No, no, no. You have given your details to the Visualpath team, right? They are having your details, right, with you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. They'll be letting you know the timings also, timings and as well as fees. They'll let you know. Yeah,
Okay, sir.
yeah, yeah. Others, guys, if you have any doubts, you can. Or else, if you are
Uh,
clear, just
how many days to complete this course?
the course will be, course will last for 2 months.
Okay, so
And
every
sir,
day we
What, Mohammed? Tell me again.
every day we are going to attend the class.
Yes, yes, yes. 1.5 hour session will be there. Yeah.
can we use instead of this MongoDB, can we use SQL Server or MySQL?
You can use, no problem. But the thing is,
What
like,
is
there is the advantage. I am telling the advantage. Like, SQL generally SQL or MySQL or Oracle, they are like structured kind of databases where RDBMS. The structure is like RDBMS, relational databases. Uh, but this MySQL is MongoDB is something which supports both. If the data is in unstructured format, still it can be providing that one. That access will be easy. That's why we are learning
okay?
this.
Okay,
Yeah,
if let's say we are building a CRM, okay, where
yeah.
there are leads, clients, and meetings, calls, so and so. Okay, so
Okay.
what is recommended? MongoDB. This is structured and relational database where lead will
MongoDB,
have meetings.
MongoDB is recommended nowadays because it supports both. If the data is unstructured, also it supports. The data is structured, also it supports.
But MongoDB is not available in any hosting. You have to buy a dedicated server and then you have to buy MongoDB and then you have to install. While
Yeah,
MySQL and MS SQL, they are already available in hosting. If you go
but
for GoDaddy or if you go for any hosting, this they
MongoDB
are
is
already
also
available. This MongoDB is not available.
no, no. MongoDB is also available in MLab. It will be there.
Okay, MLab.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I okay fine. And I heard that if you're using MongoDB, you can it is not required to build an API. You can directly talk to database with React. You can do that.
But that MongoDB, if it is happened through Node or through Express, then it can happen. But
We can directly
other-
talk to a database with React or Angular without using
any
Node.
any database, you can't talk directly to any data through any front end as of now. Still, you need. But the thing is, like the prominence of the server will be less. Only that will be what I can say. Using this Express, they will be having internal methods will be there. Just that will be calling directly the MongoDB and simply will be using them. That doesn't look like you're creating your own APIs. You understood, right? But still internally that will be connected.
Okay, like okay in Express.js, okay, I'll write get employees, get
Yes,
meetings, get
yes, yes,
and then
yes,
and whatever my database is there, SQL Server, whatever it is. So I'll write the
yes,
APIs here.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sir, by the end of this curriculum, how many projects I will learn, means we will get to learn?
Yeah, that's what using UI technology like in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you'll be learning one project, and using pure Angular or pure React, you'll be creating one project, and using complete backend technologies, you'll be creating one full-fledged backend project, and even you'll be testing that project as well. And next is you'll be combining whatever the backend you are developing. For that, you'll be creating one client again using Angular or React. You'll be clubbing both, backend and front end, and together you'll be creating complete web application, full stack web application. Total four.
Total 4 projects.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Still any doubts, guys? I hope all of you have given your details to Visualpath admin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are many more ready-made templates and ready-made projects are available for this React, right?
Regarding
This React JS, I think there are many more UIs, ready-made UIs are available in market, like Material UI.
yeah, that will be the you can integrate that, that, but to integrate that, to work with that, first you have to be good at using the React. What are the React components, how React works, those things we have to learn properly. See, if we can have that in our hand, Mamataki, then what we can do, we can easily integrate other things. If we can learn how to integrate one thing, right, then we can integrate other thing as well.
Okay, so this Material UI, what is Material UI actually?
That's a kind of what I can say, predefined UI components. Instead of writing your own CSS and all, there are some predefined UI components will be. If you want to use, you can use it. Or if you want
Like
to
a
write your own
bootstrap.
CSS,
It's like a
yeah,
bootstrap.
yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, same.
Okay, just we need to write the Node.js APIs there, and then we can use it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
If those things works for you, fine. As per your structure and
Or
all.
else you have to customize it.
Yeah, that's what. Some things like, some percentage things will be like, you have to do on your own. Some percentage of things you might customize, and some percentage of things you can, integrate. Sometimes you may integrate more things and you will customize your own things very less. Sometimes it depends on your, project and all, purely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Others, guys, any other doubts?
No, sir.
So regarding the class timings, like from when the class is going to start, and some other details. So administration people will talk to you, Visualpath administration people, and admin people will talk to. I hope you all of you guys already given your details, right? So they'll be in touch with you. That's the reason you have to give your details. They will be in touch with you, and they will let you know once the session is going to start, when the session is going to start, and what are the structure and all. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Then
Yeah,
nice
thank you, sir.
Yeah, feeling nice to interact with you guys, and hoping to meet you soon in the session, guys. Okay. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.